Hello and what's up, everyone? Welcome to tonight's show. Welcome to Sportskeeda's The Debrief. I am your host, Jose G, and next to me is the top chico himself, Rico El Glorioso, and we are the only show on SK Wrestling that brings you the AEW and NXT review on the same night. Thank you guys for joining us. Rico, how are you, bro?
Doing well, and happy Mario Day to you, Jose, and to the rest of you guys here in Sportskeeda Nation. Man, what a great ending to both shows, but NXT got me hyped. All the news that happened from NXT and everything that went down tonight, especially the ending, got me hyped.
Yeah, there is tons of stuff that went down, not only on NXT, but also the fallout from AEW Revolution that went down this Sunday, and the explosion that wasn't heard around the world, and a little bit of a payback on Monday from that. That was funny, a little shot from Monday Night Raw. But we're not here to talk about Raw. We're here to talk about AEW and NXT. And as always, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you guys be sure to follow us on all of our social media. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never, ever miss a live stream, a post, or an update. Same thing on Facebook. If you're currently watching us on Facebook, make sure you hit that like button. Share tonight's show in your favorite wrestling group. Tag your friends in the comment section so they can join us in tonight's conversation. Perico, tonight we had some huge announcements come from the NXT side. William Regal opened up the show. The first announcement was that TakeOver, like WrestleMania, is going to be a 2-night event. They also unveiled the name of the next TakeOver show, NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, 8th and 9th of April. What are your thoughts on this? Do we have they have enough talent to do 2 nights worth of NXT, but it'll be interesting what storylines on which day of the night, because the first night is going to be during a regular NXT night, and then the second night is going to be exclusively on Peacock Thursday night at 8, which we may have to push our show back maybe to 10 p.m. in order to kind of do the coverage for NXT TakeOver as well on our show. But what are your initial thoughts on the 2-night event for NXT TakeOver?
Hey, I'm for it. If there is any part of WWE that happens to stand and deliver, ironically enough, when it comes to pay-per-view performances, it is NXT. And especially on a hype weekend like WrestleMania weekend, that's definitely one way to fill out the week, to be sure. Now that they've announced the Hall of Fame will be on Tuesday, and now you have these 2 nights of NXT, I'm here for it. They always handle their business when it's just 5 matches. Now imagine 10. Doubling the pleasure, doubling the fun with double McGum and a double dose of NXT. I am here for it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm definitely hyped about that. But the other big announcement that we got tonight was that William Regal was fed up with the shenanigans and the bureaucracy that WWE is giving him. And he decided, you know what? I'm going to do it on my own. So tonight, William Regal unveiled the NXT Women's Tag Team titles to the winners of the deserving so. Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai are the winners of the Women's Dusty Cup Classic. And not only that, but they were immediately challenged by, I would say, the number one contenders of the women's tag division, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. And they got the win in their match tonight. How huge is that? That's either like the shortest tag team reign in history. I mean, if you're not counting the 24/7 title, but wow. Well, like they just got crowned the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, and then an hour later, they're defending it and lose to Shotzi and Ember, which I'm not mad about. I absolutely love, but I did not expect that.
It all makes sense in retrospect. After watching the entirety of NXT, we understand why, because of a segment that happens later on that night, because this is kind of what we would assume would be the next challenger for one Io Shirai. But yeah, I think this was all really giving them that highlight. Like, that's a nice thing to put on their stat sheet, that they were the first ever NXT Women's Tag Team Champions for Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, because we know there's going to be some big things coming up for them. especially one Raquel Gonzalez. So now that's easily something you put in every single time you mention her. That's something for the commentators to put in there. First ever NXT Women's Tag Team Champion right there. So, and they had deserved it, especially being the first women tag team to win the Women's Dusty Cup. Yeah, no, a 45-minute reign. At least it's longer than the WWE Championship when all three members of the Shield held it in one night. So at least they held it for more than one segment. Like at least it happened later on that night. But it's good for them. Awesome for Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. They deserve it, especially not having won the Dusty Cup, because now they're going to actually defend these titles probably more often than not. And we get to see what happens with the other tag team later on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And guys, if you're just joining us, make sure you drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know where you're watching from. We got plenty of you guys watching from overseas right now. Excuse me.
Bless you, brother. Bless you.
Sorry about that. Had to get a couple sneezes out of the system there.
Get them all out, man. It's that pollen, bro. It's that pollen here.
Oh yeah, it's definitely that time of year. But guys, if you just tuning in, make sure you comment in the comment section. We have Sandeep Pandey watching us from India. Thank you for joining us. Ismael Junberg Perez watching from New Jersey, and Philip Chavin también also watching us from New Jersey. So guys, we'll appreciate you guys tuning in. And as we get into tonight's NXT, we also got to see a beautiful match between Toni Storm and the NXT Women's Champion Io Shirai. So many false finishes, a great match, and Io Shirai got hers, man. Like she wasn't been able to beat Toni Storm in the past. This is her first defeat. Must taste good. And wow, just a performance from both women. What did you think?
Oh, yeah. No, even I was starting to believe, like, man, is Toni really about to take this off of Io Shirai? Like, I didn't expect it, but it had me believing towards the end, especially when she hit that Storm Zero, thinking, wow, we're really going to get this title change? Nope, Io Shirai wasn't having it, and she won via submission. We've never seen her win via submission. She always wins hitting a moonsault. But this time she got the submission win over Toni Storm in order to retain her NXT Women's Championship. Hats off to both of these ladies, but Io's still holding strong for now.
For now, man, because a little bit afterwards, after we saw that Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai had lost their newly crowned NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, Io Shirai goes up to Raquel and she's like, I want you next.
Oh.
Like she's literally gone through the entire NXT women's roster except Raquel Gonzalez. So can Raquel be the one to knock off Io, Rico? Do you think it's her time? Yeah. Big Mommy Cool's time?
Yeah, there's one reason and one reason only they lost the title within an hour of them being declared the first ever NXT Women's Tag Team champions. It's for this moment. It's going to be Raquel Gonzalez being our new NXT Women's Champion heading into NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. She is going to stand and deliver on her promise of being a champion.
Janelle Jackson watching us on YouTube is saying, do you think the reason they took the NXT Tag Team titles off of Gonzalez and Dakota is to give Raquel the NXT Women's Championship?
Yes.
Just exactly just what Rico said. Yes,
I did.
100%. And guys, keep your comments coming on in. Your comments will be shown on screen as we are reading them. We did have a couple of matches, though, besides all this huge news and title matches. We did have Pete Dunne, along with Oni Lorcan and Danny Bursey, NXT Tag Team Champions, going up against Jake Atlas. Pete Dunne made quick work of Jake. Jake put an impressive effort, but it was afterwards where Pete Dunne dropped a promo saying even though he lost his match against Finn Balor, he dropped a promo saying that he is the best technical wrestler in the world, dropped the mic and left. I can't disagree with that. Pete Dunne is one of the best at what he does, especially with that joint manipulation. Guy's a genius.
Turning that into his new finisher, using the bent out arm breaker, but holding it and then using that to snap the fingers of Jake Atlas is very brutal and it looks amazing. So I'm liking this side of Pete Dunne. So hopefully, this isn't going to be the end of him getting these kind of matches like a Finn Balor for NXT Championship. I could see him easily being NXT North American Champion much sooner rather than later too.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, right now, you know, we're definitely gonna get Cross and Balor for Takeover, which that's gonna be insane. But I kind of want to throw out a theoretical at you, because now this is almost kind of like a given. Like, you know, Cross didn't lose his NXT title, so this is kind of like a second coronation for Karrion Kross, right? What do you do with Balor now? Do you bring him back to Raw? Do you bring him back to SmackDown? Because there's only, unless you give him a run at the North American title, but we all know that he's a main title guy. He's like the face of that brand.
Yeah, no, I think the feud between Karrion Kross and Finn Balor isn't going to be a short one. It's probably going to go through and after WrestleMania. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see them go back to back, like see them perform second night of Stand and Deliver, see them perform second night of WrestleMania, just because that's how talented these guys are. So I would not be surprised if the title switches hands between the two shows also. But I think ultimately coming out of that weekend, it should be Karrion Kross coming out as NXT champion, just so that especially if you do it at WrestleMania, more people will know who he is, and people will be intrigued by seeing him and what Finn Balor do in that match, and be more willing to watch NXT also. So I think that'd be a great way to really highlight Karrion Kross, and then coming out of WrestleMania, have that feud continue, because you know it's probably going to be like a best out of 3 at this point, because just how much of how the high level of competition between both of these guys. I'm sure we don't want to just see one match. We're going to see, you know, a series of matches between these two guys for that title.
Yeah, and I'll be okay with that, but I just want to point out something real quick. How jacked does Karrion Kross look right now? This is like for you Dragon Ball fans who are watching right now, and I know a lot of you are, because if you watch wrestling, you probably watch Dragon Ball. It's like Goku looking at Broly. It's ridiculous.
He looks so menacing. He looked like he could be the human version of Nappa. Like if you just like take maybe a foot off the height, he could be like Nappa in a live action Dragon Ball Z movie.
Yeah, that's a good comparison too. Nappa, Nappa's a good one.
With the facial hair and the bald head and just the big muscles, he could be Nappa, bro.
You know, that just gives a really great opportunity for NXT to kind of come up with a Karrion Kross stable and kind of like their own version of the Ginyu Force.
Oh man!
All right, let's stop talking about Dragon Ball. Let's stop talking about Dragon Ball. Let's talk about Mortal Kombat a little bit. Let's talk about Xia Li. With her amazing entrance as always. She had a one-on-one match with Casey, not Casey, the other one,
Caden Carter.
Caden Carter, yes, with Caden Carter, and it didn't work out so well for her, because Casey came back and started putting a beat down, kind of getting a little bit of retribution with the crutch.
Yeah, man, it looked like Xia Li was about to break Caden's leg. She had she was on the apron, had her leg propped up against the bottom turnbuckle, and it looked like she was about to do that downward kick, like we saw Xia Li do to Casey, that they were saying it tore her ACL essentially. So in order to prevent that from happening, Casey just attacks with her crutch and gets in the ring and starts beating her down. Boa makes a save and stops her from hitting Xia Li as the crutch is broken. And just before it looks like he's about to do something to Casey, Kaden comes in, makes the save, they escape just as Mei Ling decides to beckon them. So she does her hand thing, and then they both come to her, and then it fades out. So, this whole feud is still not over. It's probably going to end with another fatality at some point, but
or with a flawless victory.
It's going to be very flawless when she gets her hands on Kaden again. But we got to give a quick shout out to Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. The Scorpion and Sub-Zero gear, fire.
Yes. I love that in place for the dragon they have a unicorn, and it is amazing.
So good. Fire
so good. Great. I love it. You brought up
Mortal Kombat. I just had to give a quick shout out to them.
That's my favorite fighting game of all time, Mortal Kombat. That's my game.
Yeah, man.
But dude, let's talk about real quick the true cruiserweight champion, Jordan Devlin, making his way back to NXT TV. I know we knew that he was doing some stuff in the UK. I think even the NXT UK had their version of their cruiserweight, but he is the undisputed, like true cruiserweight champion. Because that, that tournament, that's kind of like a faux tournament, where Santos became champion. We all know the truth. Jordan Devlin is the true cruiserweight champion, and he's coming back next week to face Santos Escobar for that NXT Cruiserweight Championship. I am hyped for this because Jordan Devlin, wow, he's an awesome talent, trained by Finn Balor himself.
Yeah, that's I'm so glad that they've been able to work out now the travel. So that's why we're getting some more people, and not only in AEW, but getting them in NXT also. And Jordan Devlin is going to be one of those examples. We're getting to see his talent and what he can do. And not only that, we got another promo from Imperium talking about how they're trying to recruit one Timothy Thatcher and one Old Man Ciampa, which also he even alluded to Walter eventually coming up wanting the general. So hopefully we're going to get the entirety of Imperium back over here. We're going to get to see more of these talent from NXT UK essentially make their transition over to NXT US. And that's just amazing. That's just adding even more talent on top of what they already have. Plus, we kind of needed something in the Cruiserweight division anyway, because Santos wasn't doing much other than just facing Swerve and Leon Ruff at this point. So at least this gives a true challenge, and be able to see what Jordan Devlin can do with these guys here is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, and it's gonna be a treat if you guys don't or have never watched any of the Jordan Devlin matches before, you should, because they're just a delight to watch. Dude, so let's talk about real quick Breezango finally completing their amazing astronaut entrance. How great is that?
Yeah, I just love how they intertwined two different stories in this match, because I was so excited. We didn't get to see it because of Legado Fantasma interrupting it, which got me extremely angry at them. And we got to see it, but it wasn't them. It turned out. So they come out as Grizzled Young Veterans have a match against Legado Fantasma. So, of course, with their issue with Breezango, Legado gets distracted. Grizzled Young Veterans get the upper hand. The astronauts take off their helmets. It's Wesley and Nash Carter. MSK is here, which distracts Grizzled Young Veterans, and Legado gets the roll up. The team gets the victory with a roll up pin because of distractions, and it's all brawls here. So we get Grizzled Young Veterans going after MSK. Wesley gets a little bit of retribution as he smashes Zach Gibson's hand, no longer being able to do this now. Smashes his hand against the steel stairs with the helmet, and not only that, we got to see Breezango in the ring. They attack Legado Fantasma. And then MSK and Breezango get in the ring. There was a nice moment where Fandango grabs the helmet and he crowds Nash Carter with it, and then they just decide to dance. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get an 8-man tag match next week, too.
Who's running this show? Teddy Long?
Bro, there's going to be 8-man tag matches on both shows next week. Everybody loves an 8-man tag this week, apparently.
Let me tell you what's going to happen here, player. We're going to have ourselves an 8-man tag.
Holla if you hear me, bro. You were one-on-one with them, Taker. He's not here. He's not here anymore, Teddy. Oh, sorry.
All right, man. So let's talk about this main event,
bro.
Finn Balor, Adam Cole, NXT Championship. This match delivered, and I love the storytelling at the end when Kyle O'Reilly comes out through the shadows of the corner. Adam Cole catches him, and Adam Cole just has the best facial reactions when it comes to like this type of situation. He just, the smallest details that Adam Cole does in that type of story, it's unbelievable. He even tried to like, I'm so sorry. Listen, you're my brother. He wanted to go for a low blow. Didn't happen. Kyle O'Reilly countered it, put a beat down on Adam Cole. It was just so riled up. He went all the way to the outside, even tried to do a brainbuster on the steel steps like Cole had done to him a few weeks ago. But then the refs come out like, no. They stopped the whole situation. But it was just bro. This is gonna be a hell of a one-on-one match at Takeover. But I would think the one piece of detail during that interaction that was just really the cherry on top is how Kyle O'Reilly grabbed Adam Cole's arm and stripped off the Undisputed Era band off of his arm, almost like signifying like you are completely out. You are not part of the Undisputed Era. That might be the message. At least that's the message that I'm getting. What did you get out of that, Rico?
It has to be, because as soon as this match started, I was wondering, why is he still coming out to Undisputed Era's music, the same graphics, same lighting, and still wearing the shirt and the armband? Like, really? You're still wearing all the Undisputed stuff? And it just made sense at the end when Kyle O'Reilly essentially ceremoniously ripped it off his arm. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, if he's going to get his own music, or is he still going to come out with the Undisputed Era's theme? Like, what's going to happen with all that? Only time will tell, but it looks like at least Adam Cole is no longer undisputed.
No, he is not disputed anymore, man. But that was just a great way to kind of close out the show and kind of keep us giving more. So this probably is going to lead up to a blockbuster match at TakeOver. Maybe night one. Do you see this match being on night one?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see, if not the women's match, if that doesn't highlight, like, that should main event night one, I think. Raquel versus Io Shirai should main event night one. I would think one of the matches in night one would be Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly. Makes sense. And then, of course, having the main event for night two being one Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. Like, it makes the most sense.
Well, guys, let us know what you guys think of all these storylines so far, and the announcement of the NXT TakeOver tonight. And we'll read your comments as we go. And as we get into the AEW part of tonight's review, guys, make sure to follow us on all of our social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, at Facebook, and also on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, make sure you hit that thumbs up and smash that subscribe button so you never, ever miss a post, a live update, or a live stream. And it's the same thing for Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you hit that like button, share button, share in your favorite wrestling group, tag your friends in the comment section so they can join us in tonight's conversation. So, Rico, AEW Dynamite, we had the fallout from AEW Revolution. The internet went absolutely crazy over these last 3 or 4 days because it wasn't the explosion everyone was expecting. I mean, they kept showing all this roll from, the Japanese version of the death match and these crazy explosions happening, and we were kind of expecting that, and none of that happened. And they addressed it tonight. They addressed it. Yes. Not only Jon Moxley and Kingston addressed it, but also Kenny Omega and Don Callis. So what was your take on both angles on this, man?
Yeah, so it was going to be interesting. We knew heading out of Sunday how they were going to approach the situation, because if you guys didn't see, there was a clip on Twitter not too long after the whole situation, while the referee and the medics are attending to Eddie Kingston, where Jon Moxley grabs a microphone and tells everybody that Kenny is tough. He was a better man, but he can't build the ring with the crap. So from there, he kind of set the tone for how they were going to have to react. It just still looked weird how Eddie Kingston was reacting. So they mentioned it here, where Eddie Kingston explains that he essentially kind of had like an anxiety or panic attack, which was similar to an experience that he had before when he was in jail waiting trial, where he had the guards walking in front of him and telling him, hey, you're going to go to Rikers, boy, and all the stuff. And so much anxiety and stress built up in him that he blacked out. So they kind of used that as the excuse of why, even though it was only just sparklers and a couple of small explosions that happened outside the ring, that's why he acted the way he did, why he was essentially blacked out, as opposed to, playing it off where he could have been like, oh, that was it. But in the moment, he couldn't see anything. His eyes are covered. So he expected something else to happen. It didn't happen. But then they also used this opportunity to have even more heel heat on Kenny Omega and Don Callis, because
later, like when they said, we should try 69 hump each other, I'm like, Did they just say that?
They literally said that on TNT television.
Wow.
Good job, guys.
I mean, I get to be edgy, but wow. I mean, I don't know. They're probably going to have to change that rating rule soon to TVMA.
Not only did they say it, but they had to reenact it too. So, of course, this whole segment was when Shivani was going to interview Christian Cage, who's going to speak for the first time ever since signing with AEW, as he was the person revealed to be the big signee that Paul White was talking about last week. So Kenny Omega interrupts, and Don Callis talks up Kenny as the king of the death match. And they mentioned what you said, the explosion not heard around the world. And they basically took away what we as fans wanted to see. You wanted this big explosion. Yeah, we could have done it, and we could have been, we could have won. But if we take that away from you, from what you expected, we win even more. So, of course, they start calling out, how stupid it was from Moxley and Kingston. Kingston takes it personally. He comes out. So they give him a 10-second warning before they beat him up. And they do the same, countdown from Sunday. And after 0 hits, they drop down to the ground. And they essentially dry 69 each other, Don Callis and Kenny Omega, in the middle of that ring. So just really dig that knife even deeper into Eddie Kingston. But of course, this winds up being an attack on Kingston. Moxley comes out, they fight, and Christian Cage comes out. So it looks like not only are we going to be getting Kenny Omega going for the Impact Championship, looks like we're going to have Christian Cage having a program with Kenny Omega for the AEW Championship. So how do you feel about that possibly being Christian Cage's first feud here in AEW, Jose?
I guess, you know what? Why not? Why not have Christian versus Kenny Omega? I mean, who else would you put Christian against? I mean, Christian's a big name. He's for sure a ballot Hall of Famer at some point down the road.
Matt Hardy.
But
you'd have him against Matt Hardy.
Again, for the 100,000th time
in AEW.
True, but we've never seen Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage. That would be an interesting match. I would like to see where that goes, but at the same time, they're using the same formula WWE is using. I guess if the formula ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, but one thing I do got to give props to AEW for is they're intertwining storylines as it's happening. So it's not just one, like taking up this whole segment to just tell one story. They're setting up multiple. Like setting up now, we're going to have next week at the St. Patrick's Day Slam, we're going to have the Good Brothers going up against John Moxley and Eddie Kingston. So it's telling their story as, the two rivals that now came together, even if it was in a dry 69 session on pay-per-view, that that storyline is going to continue for the Good Brothers and them, and now we can have Kenny Omega and Christian. So at least you're being efficient. They have 2 hours worth of TV time, but they're being efficient with intertwining a lot of these storylines. So I got to give them props for that at least.
All right, reading some of your comments over here. Rise over here 305 on YouTube says, can they get away for saying 69 dry humping and TNT?
They got away doing it.
It's cable and it's TV 14. So I think so, maybe. I mean, they get away with saying some other words on there too. So Bigfoot Anon is saying, well, that non-type of PG show is what we want and don't get from WWE. You guys have, a lot of the fans have been wanting a little bit more edgy content. That's true. And I guess this is a way to put it out there. Let's see what else here. Christopher Brown, he's saying, I'm okay with it, Rico, if this is Khan's way of justifying signing Christian in the first place. He's not about to mirror him and stick his ass in the mid card. So, and Rise over here 305 is saying Christian Cage and versus Brian Cage would be an interesting match.
We have 2 pairings of similar last names, and they're not related. So now we have Christian Cage, Brian Cage, Hangman Adam Page, and All Ego Ethan Page. So I wonder if they're going to have a Page and Cage battle at some point.
Yeah, probably the Pages versus the Cages inside the steel cage.
Exactly. Have Nicolas Cage be the guest referee. You can have Macaulay Culkin overseeing Hangman Adam Page and Ethan Page, because you got to remember, he's the Page Master. So you got to actually have Macaulay Culkin in there too. Yeah.
But I love how you put all that together. I love it.
Yeah, it just works that way sometimes. But man, coming off of a hot Revolution, we do have a number one contender for the AEW Tag Team Champions, who happen to be the Young Bucks. They happen to retain with some shenanigans of, well, not even with shenanigans, they still retain ungodly amounts of kickouts when things they shouldn't have kicked out. I'm sorry, if you get hit with a bat in the back, like, you shouldn't be able to kick out. But anyway,
right? Yeah.
Besides the point,
I don't know who booked that match. He was like, "Oh, by the way, you're gonna kick out of a bat to the back." Like,
yeah, because anybody would at that point, But they're fighting for the pride of their father, so they were able to defeat the bad guys in Jericho and MJF. But they do have number one contenders now, as Death Triangle, just as I was hoping for, wound up winning the Casino Battle Royale. So we got to start off this week with a one-on-one match between Matt Jackson and Rey Fénix. Of course, still to me, the best high flyer in all of professional wrestling.
Man, he did some crazy ass moves on Sunday and tonight. But on Sunday, man, when he went for that tope suicida through the ropes and ended up outside of the guardrail,
he's so fast with so much momentum. He's always landing outside that barricade. But he was able to get the win against Matt Jackson, which is great. And not too much interference with Nick Jackson and Pac on the outside, even though they both got taken out of the match thanks to Ray and to Matt Jackson. But they got the clean win. So, it's looking like good momentum for Death Triangle to possibly be the next AEW Tag Team Champions. And it looks like SCU is going to be the ones challenging them right away, because they are still currently the number one ranked tag team. And remember, the stipulation is if Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels happen to lose any regular tag team match, because the Casino Battle Royale doesn't count, they will officially disband as a tag team. And they've been on a winning streak ever since then. So it looks like once we get Death Triangle versus the Young Bucks, the winners will be facing SCU. So
I'm okay with that.
Tag team vision is stepping up.
All right, so just kind of continuing this whole Adam Page and Christian Cage, Joe Risen over here at 305 saying, then later it's revealed that Ethan Page and Adam Page are the long-lost brothers of Diamond Dallas Page, being revealed as the true father of both Pages. Wow. Oh man, that's a great soap opera right there. That storyline would have probably worked. It probably could still work today, but that storyline would have killed in like the 90s and the late 90s, early 2000s.
And then Diamond Dallas adopts Paige, so she could be Paige. But
drops her with a bang.
Right, there you go. Well, we've seen her bang before. But anyway, so this leads up to I apologize.
PG, Rico.
Right, we're the PG show. We got to leave the rest of the non-PG stuff to AEW. But coming out of the fallout from the face of the Revolution ladder match, which Scorpio Sky won the big Cheerio, the Sonic ring that was hanging up above the ring.
I was about to ask you, is it a Sonic ring or is it a Cheerio? It is a Sonic ring.
He was about to go. I'm surprised that he didn't go Super Scorpio right after that.
That's just one big jab to Vince McMahon because of the brass ring comment. That's just I love it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, so Scorpio was the fastest one. He is the new Sonic now of AEW. He's going to get a shot against Darby Allin later tonight. But Cody Rhodes was in that match, and he had a squash match against Seth Gargis. Sorry, dude. Got in there. He lost at a figure 4 quickly. But it was about what happened afterwards, because as Shivani was about to interview Cody after the match, asking about his shoulder injury suffered by the hands of Penta El Cero Miedo, Penta interrupts, and he grabs Alex Abrahantes to translate. And he tells Cody that he's 1,000 times better than him. And if Cody calls himself the Prince of Professional Wrestling, then Penta's the Lord of Lucha Libre. Yes, he is. But he also mentions, had it been one-on-one, Penta would have won.
I also loved right now, I think this is the most promo work we've seen from Penta's side in the last 2 years. And the fact that he has a translator with him works. It works in boxing. It should work in pro wrestling. And I think I think what he's doing with Alex in AEW and having Alex translate for him the things that's too long for him to like go over with. Yeah. It's great. And the way that Alex sells it is even better.
He like really gets it. Like he's truly embodying what Penta is trying to portray to Cody Rhodes. So he does a good job. He has been drinking that Kool-Aid from the Dark Order. So, it's getting him into that character. But the great part was at the end, like after he told Cody he would have beaten him one-on-one, he says he's going to handle this in Cody's language. Is it, Cody, you're lucky that I didn't focus on your arm more, because if I did, you wouldn't be able to pick up your new baby girl. And this sets off Cody. They start brawling. And, of course, this sets up a match next week. We're going to get Cody Rhodes versus Penta El Cero Miedo.
I'm loving it. We love Penta, friends of our show, Ricans of Wrestling. Speaking of Ricans, we have someone watching us from Puerto Rico. Rorito, thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in tonight's show. But, yeah, dude, I absolutely loved also near the end of that match. I'm sorry. I'm looking. I'm looking over here.
You're looking at
Oh no, yeah. Okay, we finished. We finished that match. But
yeah,
there was a backstage promo with Chucky T and Orange Cassidy in an arcade, and I thought for a moment, are we gonna have like an arcade insane no disqualification match? Is that what's gonna happen?
Something like that. So, of course, Chucky T explains that, he wants one more match with Miro, and he agrees that, hey, if we lose, then, that whole Butler thing that I was doing for you for a month, I'll do it forever. But one thing we'll add to this match. We're going to take these little video games that you love so much and have them throughout, outside of the ring so that we can smash your head through every single one of them. And then Orange Cassidy takes off his glasses and says, and we will destroy you guys. So it looks like we're going to have like an arcade cabinet match or something. I'm sure they'll come up with something interesting here, but we might get more explosions out of this than we did for the ending of the explosive barbed wire death match if they decide to add those fireworks into the back of the cabinets. So that's going to be an interesting match because Miro and Kip Sabian did get the win on Sunday.
Just to that point, they'll probably do it like a cinematic style match and add 8-bit or 16-bit graphics in the background. Yeah, like I think that'll probably kill. All right, man. So let's see here. What else do we have, Rico?
So it looks like we have a new challenger against Sting. Because once again, here he comes with Tony Schiavone bringing him out. And once again, I thought Team Taz was going to interrupt, considering they got destroyed. Very brutal match between Darby Allin and Sting versus Team Taz, where Darby and Sting got the win in this ring that was in the middle of a warehouse, which had some pretty amazing spots. Like Darby Allin could be the next Spider-Man if they need somebody else to replace him. Just the way he was able to jump off the actual wall and still like compete in the match. Like he did some crazy stuff in that match. But as Sting comes out and does his interview, the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer, comes out, and it looks like we're going to get a program between Lance Archer and Sting. Oh, I don't. Ew, it doesn't look good.
I don't know, man.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty in tune with what like other wrestling fans kind of. I don't know, dude. Like Lance Archer is another type of animal. I mean, Sting has never been in the ring with someone like Lance Archer.
Like, I can't imagine him taking a blackout and being okay. Like, lifting up Sting and slamming him down like that.
He took a buckle bomb from Seth Rollins
which
5 or 6 years ago and took him out and pretty much retired him from WWE. So, I mean, I'm with 305 over here. Hopefully, Sting puts over Lance Archer. He wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't. But I can't imagine a world where Sting wins that 100% clean.
No, he would have to use that bat in every which way in order to have a chance against Lance Archer. And even then, I won't be surprised if he like grabs a bat and breaks it with his teeth or something. Just because how crazy
he's the Murder Hawk. This is the Murder Hawk, yeah.
Yeah. So good luck to Sting if that happens to be the case. But we did get to see the in-ring debut of All Ego Ethan Page, who was revealed to be that sixth man in the Face of the Revolution ladder match, as he had his match against Big Shotty Lee Johnson. He seems to be very much the ace of the Nightmare Factory that they have going on, as he's being supported by QT Marshall and Dustin. Ethan Page wins with the ego's edge. I love seeing a Razor's Edge, so we're going to see it a lot more often against Hangman Adam Page's long-lost cousin. So even after the end of the match, it looks like there's something going on with the Nightmare family because QT Marshall turns his back on Dustin and Lee Johnson after he got laid out at the end of the match. So looks like there's still some bit squabbling going on there. We also got to see a nice 6-women tag match since Teddy Long loves these kind of matches. We did get Dr. Britt Baker DMD with Maki Ito and Nyla Rose going up against the AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida, Ryu Mizunami, and Thunder Rosa. Man, everybody is sipping over Maki Ito, and you can add me to that list, man, because I enjoy what she does. I enjoy her character. The fact that everybody is brawling and she's doing her entrance, and she still does her song a cappella. Her music cuts off when the brawl starts, and she's just still there dancing, doing her choreography, and finishes it. And as Hikaru Shida gets to her, she takes the microphone and just like bops her on the head with it a few times before the match officially starts. I'm loving Maki Ito, man.
That's good character work, though. That's just great. She's 100% committed to that character. I really enjoyed her in Revolution, and that head drop that she does with the headbutt, man, that is gold. I absolutely love it. And not to mention that her social media is absolute fire.
And they put her on BTE, and just her introduction with the Dark Order, I thought was amazing too. Yeah, I want more Maki Ito. Let's keep having her on TV. But they wound up eventually getting the win, and after the match, really they were hyping up Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, and after the match, they all beat her down, and Britt Baker locks in the lockjaw on Thunder Rosa, and it was announced that there is going to be a match. I believe it's going to be at the St. Patrick's Slam also, where it'll probably be
next week.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's the main event. It's going to be the unsanctioned lights out match between Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Thunder Rosa. So the ladies are going to be shutting down the show next week at the St. Patrick's Day Slam. So, they're putting a lot into this rivalry. We'll see who gets the win between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker. I think it should be Britt, man. If they're going to push her to be the face of the women's division, she needs a big win, especially over Thunder Rosa. This is a big way of doing it in an unsanctioned lights out match.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think this is that moment. But someone who had a huge moment tonight, he's been having a pretty big week, man. Scorpio Sky put on one hell of a match again, one hell of a banger match against Darby Allin. To end the way it did, I completely understand why Scorpio Sky did what he did.
Yeah, man.
If that were me, I would be like, this is some bullshit.
After the great counters, he countered a suicide dive into a cutter. He countered Darby Allin's coffin drop into a power bomb, but all it took was him going for the TKO for Darby to turn it into a small package and get the 1-2-3 in order to defend his TNT championship. And this led to, it looks like a full-blown now heel turn from Scorpio Sky. As he attacks Darby, hits him with the heel hook, he's like looking at his hands, and then he smiles. So we're seeing this edge to Scorpio Sky, and I like it. I like to see what a heel Scorpio Sky could really do.
Yeah, I think this is the beginning of something great for Scorpio Sky, and it's long overdue. Scorpio Sky is one of those guys that's been there from day one and has been putting in the work, and I feel like this is his year. This guy is going to be a main event player some point down the line. I think probably by the end of 2021.
They're just a talent, man. Like talking about Scorpio Sky, Darby Allin, Jungle Boy, MJF, Sammy Guevara, like these are guys that can carry this company for years, and it looks like they're finally really seeing what they can do with Scorpio Sky. He's going to be TNT champion before the end of the year. He has to be. Like they would be doing a great disservice to him if he doesn't hold that title.
I hope so. That he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it, and he's earned it.
Yes, he has. But
you know what?
Speaking of turns, though, man.
Yep. Let's talk about that.
Speaking of turns, so we had to close out the night. The Inner Circle War Council, where he explains what it is, in the middle of war, when they're a team, when one of the sides is losing, to have a war council to see what kind of change of tactic, what kind of change of mindset they can do to help turn the tide. So it's time for Inner Circle to do the same thing. Possibly, change their attitude. Possibly add a member. MJF takes great exception to this. So hold on, we don't need somebody else. and Sammy Guevara's music hits. He said he was going to be gone for a couple weeks, and now he's back. And he has something very important to show to Chris Jericho. So he loads up a video where it shows MJF approaching Hager, Santana, and Ortiz, telling him, all right, tonight's the time. It's time for some new leadership in the inner circle. So, of course, as they cut back to what's in the ring, we have MJF telling Jericho, I'm sorry you had to find out this way, but get them, boys. And it looks like Hager, Santana, Ortiz are about to attack Jericho. Turn right around.
What I love, Jericho, he just looks at Santana. He's like, wink, wink. And then they just turn on him. I was like, oh, you thought. Yes. But man. We've been saying this for many months now, that we knew that MJF was going to turn and he was going to try to take the inner circle out of under from Chris Jericho.
Yep.
And we were halfway right.
Yeah, man.
What we saw tonight was the unholy union of FTR, of Sean Spears, of Wardlow, of MJF, and Tully Blanchard. Because, as he says, he's like, I never wanted to take away the inner circle away from you. I created my own. Goes into blackout. They all show up, and we have a melee going on between all the members of both factions now. So what is this faction's new name, Rico?
The Five Horsemen.
The Five?
It's the Five? Unless you're not going to count Wardlow. That would be a big disservice to him, too. If you do Sean Spears, MJF, and
the Fifth Element.
Nice. That's super green. That's super green, Jose. I am all for that. But this is, we have another major stable. Now they're finally giving a big mouthpiece to these guys. I'm really intrigued to see what MJF can do as a leader of his own faction go up against Inner Circle. I thought it was great. I feel like the fans didn't get as into it that were there in attendance. Like they were just kind of like trying to understand what was happening. But
yeah. It looks like we're having some connection issues with. There it is. There he looks like he's back. Yeah.
So it's especially the section where Wardlow had the chair around Sammy's neck, or Sean Spears had a chair around Sammy's mouth, slammed him down. They handcuffed Santana Ortiz, hit them with the double spike pile driver, and then Jericho not only gets hit with the diamond ring, not only hit with his own bat, Lloyd, he gets taken to the stage and is powerbombed off the stage by Wardlow through the tables down below. Man, they are making a statement and making a huge one here. The Fifth Element is standing tall in AEW.
That's an SK Wrestling exclusive. That's what we're calling them for now. Hopefully, you guys at AEW are listening to us, and you guys can name them the Fifth Element. I like it.
Man, two good endings to two shows, man.
Yeah, man. So next week we'll see what happens. So we got a lot of buildup coming up. We're just 1 month away to WrestleMania weekend. We're finally getting it this year, so we're excited. Just make sure you follow us on all of our socials, especially here on Facebook and on Instagram, because there's going to be tons of exclusive content coming out. We got some big interviews coming out with NXT and WWE superstars. With Ricocchino, that's going to be releasing later on this week. We also got some big plans for WrestleMania, so tune in, stay up to date. And how can you do that, Rico? Tell them how they can do that.
They got to follow us on all of the social medias here at Sports Keto. So follow SK Wrestling _ at Instagram, SK Wrestling on Twitter and YouTube, and right here on Facebook.
Yes, sir. So for Rico El Glorioso, we'll be back next week. Make sure you tune into our show tomorrow night, Weekends of Wrestling, right here on Facebook and on YouTube. But that's it. So for Rico El Glorioso, I'm your host, Jose G, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good night. Y nos fuimos.
Good night, guys.